and welcome to the 22nd episode of the MyMuddlings podcast. I am your host Julianne, and today is the 23rd of January 2017, so I'm into my third podcast I think of the year, so it's pretty exciting. I've got quite a few things to talk to you about today, and yes, I hope you enjoy. It's a little bit hot here today. I have kept my hair out because I miss having my hair out and it's getting very long. But I may look a little bit sweaty. I hope I don't look too sweaty because I've turned the fan off just so I can podcast, so we don't have all of that extraneous noise. So yes, hopefully I'm not a complete melting mess by the end of this podcast. We've been having some really weird weather here lately. Some days are really hot and then the next day it's not so hot, and the problem is we don't have any kind of ducted cooling or anything in our house, and it's double brick also, so once it gets hot it kind of stays hot, and even though we get those cool days, the inside of the house isn't desperately cool. Anyway, enough bitching about the weather. I don't like hot weather, but you know, it is what it is. At least we're sort of halfway through. Yeah, anyway, first thing I wanted to talk about today was just a little bit of housekeeping, and that's for our 2017 year-long stash down along that we're running over in the Ravelry group. The link to that board is in the show notes, and that they can be found at www.mymuddlings.com. And yes, so we've got quite a few people over there. We've had a new person join up, which is fabulous. I think we've got about 15 of us on the board there with our FO posts, and there's a bunch of FOs showing up, so that's really exciting. And yeah, so if you're interested and want to get rid of some of that stash that's been hanging around for a very long time, please go over there and join us. And we have two awesome sponsors for the make along, because you can do knitting, crochet, weaving, spinning, whatever gets that stuff out of your stash. So we have Caroline of Clothesline Designs. She has donated a couple of patterns, and we have Tamara of Tam's Crafty Knits, and she has offered to give us a project bag and a DPN holder, I believe. So that will be a prize somewhere along the line. And also myself, so I will also be sponsoring prizes. And if you'd like to help me out by sponsoring a prize or donating something, or just donating a little bit of money to help me cover prize costs, that'd be awesome. You can contact me either as a PM on Ravelry or at juliannec@mymuddlings.com. So let's get on to the knitting and the crafting. So the first two things, I have two FOs for you today, and one of them I am absolutely in love with, and that's the first one that I'm going to talk about today. I feel like I'm melting already. Hopefully I'm not too glistening. Maybe I'm just, women don't sweat, they glow, so I'm just going to do a lot of glowing, I think. Anyway, the first FO that I have is the Duotone Towel, and I ain't gonna put this on, guys. And this is a pattern by Orange Flower Yarn, and I have knit this out of Vine Yarn Smitten DK in the Black Pearl and Jilted Rose colourways. So I adore this. I was actually, because the Vine Yarns is the precious, I was a little bit like, is this pattern a little bit too plain? Is it not quite good enough for the Vine? But now that it's knit up, and I knew these colours would work beautifully together, and now that it's knit up, I'm just over the moon with this. So basically what it is you knit a tube. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, so head over there and have a look. It's basically you knit a tube all the way up, and then you graft the ends together. So you do like a provisional cast on. I didn't do that. I just did a long tail cast on, and I'll see if I can find where I graft it. You're not even going to really be able to tell. So right here, this line right here is where I grafted, and you can barely tell. And I haven't blocked this yet, so once it's blocked it'll probably even out a little bit more. You can feel that there's a little bit of a ridge simply because I did do that long tail cast on rather than a provisional, but nobody's going to notice, honestly. So it's striping, it's just done in the round. You can kind of see a little bit of the jogging there of where I swapped colours on the rounds, but you're not going to notice that. And basically you've got half of it that is one colour in thicker lines, the other colour in thinner lines, and then the other half is the opposite. So you've got your thin colour of the second colour there. So I'm thrilled with this. Yeah, I just love it. It's really soft because it's the Smitten DK base is an MCN base, so merino cashmere nylon. So it's lovely and soft, and because it's the double fabric, it's going to be mega warm. So hence why I'm not putting it on today, because I'm already melting and I'm wearing a summer dress. So yes, this is going to be beautiful for winter. When it finally comes around, it can't come too soon as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, super simple, loved it. I think it was 451 yards that I used. Yeah, 451 yards, and I knit this on a size 5mm needle, which I think is a US 8. Yes, a US 8 size needle. So yeah, I am in love with this. I put an Instagram post saying that I was going to divorce my husband and marry this cowl. Because I just loved it. It just turned out so much better than I imagined. I imagined it would turn out beautifully, but it's just so much better. And I did actually put a couple more repeats in. I think the pattern is for approximately 15 of each half of your alternating stripes. And I did 18, I believe, because I had quite a bit of yarn, and I still have yarn left, so I probably could have done a little bit more, but by the time I had you know, decided that I was going to finish, you know, I didn't want to play yarn chicken and have it not have enough. So yes, that's the Duotone cowl, and I'm mega happy with this, and I kind of want to use a whole bunch of my thicker yarn. I've got some Preciosa still from Knitkicks, and I kind of feel like I want to knit a bunch of these just for people because I love them, and I feel like knitting up my Preciosa to, you know, get it out of my stash would be a great stash down project, and just hand them out to people. So yes, love it. I think my hair is sticking to my face. Ugh, I hope I don't look disgusting. And the next finished object that I have is my test version of the Amelia Berry. So I showed this last week, and this is my own design. And my testers, I sent it out to my testers, I think early last week, Tuesday or Wednesday. I found, you know, being a newbie designer, I found that my written instructions were all over the place. I'm really sorry to all my beautiful testers. You guys have been so patient, and I'm really sorry that I'm a complete newbie. And the day that I wrote up those written instructions was actually a really hot day, and our study gets really hot. So I was still working on it by the time Simon got home, and I tend to like to spend time with him when he gets home from work, so I was trying to rush through it, and you know, I really should have gone back and rechecked, but I didn't, and I'm really sorry. And I have learnt so much, so any future designs that I make, I will be doing a lot more work on before I send it out to testers. But yes, thank you so much to my beautiful testers who have been patient with me and understanding, and you guys have done some beautiful work. And yes, I will talk a little bit more about that at the end. But this is my test that I did, and I checked the chart because I tend to do I tend to work from the chart. So this is my third Amelia Berry, and that's Amelia named after my little nearly 3-year-old niece. And yes, this was knit from Jinx Yarns Merino DK, and this was an experimental dye lot that she did. I don't think it has turned into a colourway, not that I'm hugely over Laura's colourways, but yeah, I just thought this was beautiful, and I was worried that the pattern might get a little bit lost in all of the variegation of the yarn, but it really doesn't, and it's just beautiful, and I was very thrilled with this. and I used 140 yards, and that's a little bit more than I used on my first 2 prototypes, because I decided to go up to a 4mm needle in the pattern for the ribbing, because I was using a 3.75mm needle, and I found that the you know, the hole where your head goes seemed really small, like it was quite small in comparison. So for the testing I said to go up to a 4mm. And again, because it's hot, I ain't going to model this for you. Hopefully if it gets a little bit cooler, I'll take some photos and Instagram those and put them on my project page. So yeah, with the help of my wonderful testers, I think it is the actual written, the meat of the pattern is just about done. So I just have to create a format and, you know, make it look pretty, and then it should be hopefully released mid February, hopefully. So I know at least 2 of my testers are finished, so I've got 6 of them, so hopefully I'll hear from some more soon. So that's my finished objects. Did I say how much I used of that? Yes, 140 yards, and I knit the hat on, as I said, 4mm, which is a US 6, and 4.5mm, which is a US 7, just 16-inch circulars and DPNs. So yes, now I can get on to works in progress, and as per usual you will be very familiar with this item, and I think I had done the kaleidoscope, this grey and pink and the green and that there, and that bit of blue. I think I had done that last week, so I have added the sea anemone colour, which was left over from my last pair of vanilla socks. And I think that was about 100 or so yards of that I've put on there. So yes, as I said last week, the rows are getting very, very long, so it's getting harder and harder because I obviously have scraps. They're all just scraps from leftover from other projects. They really vary in how much amount that I have. So as the rows are getting bigger and bigger, the stripes are getting shorter and shorter, like, you know, narrow and narrower. So yes, I'm still working on that. That's very much my don't want to think about it, want to do something satisfying project is as adding to this blanket. So there's not really a lot to talk about with this one because I've spoken about it so many times and you know exactly what I'm doing. So that's my diagonal blanket, that's my quick update. The next thing I have been working on is, now this is for my mum, and because I am very poor, I can't go and buy wonderful big birthday presents and things for people, so I make them things. And because I had no clue what to make for my mum or my sister last year, I created the MyMuddlings gift certificates, which were available on my site, but I have to kind of nut out a few things because with the way Etsy works, it's yeah, it's a bit hard. I do have a bit, because it's my mum and my sister, they don't need to go through Etsy. So yeah, I gave them little gift certificates and I made up some really dumb terms and conditions that were just ridiculous, and my sister got a real kick out of those. My mum couldn't actually read them because the text was too small. But yeah, my sister got a huge kick out of them, and she, you know, we had so much fun sitting there reading them while she was going through it. But my sister still hasn't decided what she wants. She thinks that she wants me to sew her a t-shirt, so might see some sewing somewhere along the line. As she's just had a baby, she's not really able to go fabric shopping with me just at the moment, so it might be a few months down the track. But anyway, on to what I'm making for my mum. This is a morning mist tea, and that is by Annie Roden, or Rowden, I'm not quite sure how it's said. But this is how far I am. And basically, I'll pop in a picture so that you can see what it looks like. I do have one. I think I may have worn it in the podcast. It's basically a lace panel which runs along the back of your shoulders, so it goes along the back, and then you knit down and you do sort of your yoke section like that. So you know, this bit here is the shoulder seam, and then you knit down, and then you pick up along the bottom of the lace panel, and then you start going in the round all the way to the bottom, and then after that pretty much it's just pick up around the neck and the sleeves and do some garter stitch. So yeah, the lace is really, really pretty on this, and I think I've got I've got strands going everywhere. I put a picture of this on Instagram and got a few comments of how pretty the lace is, and it really is pretty. It's not for the faint of heart. It is only an 8-row repeat, but it is double-sided, so you're doing lace on 6 of those rows. You only have 2 purling rest rows, so it can be a little bit labour intensive, and it takes a little while just to get the hang of it. But the thing that this has, and because my needles, I don't know if you can see that, they're quite blunt, and because I have so many whips on the needles, I couldn't get out my hires, so because I've got no cables left. So even if I had the right size needles, which I think these are 4mm US 6, even if I had the tips available, I wouldn't have the cables, so I probably should invest in some more higher cables. But yes, doing the pattern of the lace involves doing peltu tog, like peltu together through the back loop, just to get the, you know, I think it's gives an SSK look on the right side because you're doing that on the wrong side. So yeah, I think that gives the SSK look on the front, and especially with this yarn, which I'll talk about in a second, I was really struggling with that, and eventually I got the hang of it and kind of figured out how to kind of, you know, stick the needle through to pick up the 2 stitches. But yeah, I finished the lace panel yesterday, and I picked up and started the shoulders and the yoke. So the lace panel itself actually has, I've got my little progress keeper there from All About Yarn. It actually has a provisional cast on just down through here, so you can kind of see how that creates like a full diamond. That's where the provisional cast on was, and yeah, so that you have that mirrored lace. So yeah, I love mine. I knit mine in the same yarn as this, and it is Knitkicks Kotlin. So the paler colour here is linen, and this one is pomegranate, as you can probably see from the tag. So my mum picked these colours. Knitkicks were having a sale back in November, I think it was. So this is eligible for the stash down. And we sat for probably an hour on the phone with her in front of her computer and me in front of my computer picking the colours. So I really like the colours that she picked. I love this pomegranate. It's such a beautiful, rich red colour. And we were debating as to whether to get white for this section, but I thought the white might be a little bit too cold against the lovely red, so we went for that warmer linen colour. So yeah, doing well with that. So hopefully this will be done fairly soon. This is what I'm concentrating on as my main project at the moment. So yeah, let's see how we go, how quickly I can get that done for her, seeing her birthday was actually back in November. So I'm just going to pause here for a second and put my hair up because I'm absolutely melting and getting very, very sticky. Okay, now the hair's up. Hopefully I'll be a little bit cooler. What was my next work in progress? Here we go, in one of my hand-sewn bags. And this is a present for my niece, who's, as I said, is going to be 3 at the start of April. And this is going to be really hard to see because I didn't have any of the longer, and I've lost a bunch of stitches. I didn't have any of my longer needles to knit this on, so it's all squished up on a little 16-inch circular. But this is the Early Autumn pattern, which is by Alana Dacos, and this is one that I've had on the queue for quite a while because I hand dyed this yarn at the same time that I dyed the yarn for the jacket that I knit, the Bare Branches jacket, which is also by Alana Dacos, and also for my niece Amelia. That was her Christmas present. So yes, this was hand dyed by me at the same time. Obviously I learnt a lot from that purple one and got a much better result on this red one, or burgundy I suppose. It's a pinky burgundy colour. I'm thinking I might dye some of this up so that I can have this in my shop and have it as part of my Valentine's colourways that I'm, well, not necessarily limited edition, but on, as I said, I think previously in the podcast, I'm focusing on reds and pinks this quarter because, you know, this quarter includes Valentine's Day. So yeah, I'm alternating skeins. I'm being a very good girl. And I'm alternating skeins because this is the 4-year size, and because, you know, 4 years old is fairly, you're getting to that kind of young child age rather than a toddler age. I thought it'd probably be best to alternate the skeins just to get a little bit more of a consistent colour through. So yes, I haven't done very much for this. I just cast it on so that I knew that I had it there and the needles were all set and all those good things, because if I leave it too long, I'm probably going to forget that I need to do it. I'm losing all my stitches again because this needle is too small. Yeah, I don't want to forget that this needs to be done. So if it's in my works in progress, I'm not going to forget about it. So I've got until the start of April to finish that. So that's why I'm focusing more on my mum's top than this. So this will be the next thing that I work on after my mum's top is done. And my only other work in progress that I have been working on is another pair of socks. Oh, and speaking of socks, I'll talk about that after I've showed you these. These are just my regular vanilla socks as usual, top down, 64 stitch. So these are pretty much, because I've been spending quite a bit of time going to and from the hospital to spend time with my sister, which I'll also talk about later. I finished my cowl that I showed you, and I needed another simple bus project, so I cast on these socks. And these are knit from Bergère de France. My French accent is probably absolutely horrid. If Isabel from Fluffy Fibres is watching me, she'll probably, you know, want to hit me through the screen. But yes, this is their Gumi 50, which a lot of people were really into a little while ago, and it's the Imprint Azure colourway. So yes, it's just kind of a, I guess, I don't even know what you would really call that. It looks like it's spiral pulling on its way round, and that's quite cool. I don't mind that at all. So yes, that's pretty much my, you know, what you would call purse knitting or travel knitting. Also kept in a bag that I made. I just love this fabric. I've made this bag, and I think I made another bag and some suck pads actually for a customer and for my sister out of this fabric. So I really love this, and I can't even remember what it is, and I don't know if I can get any more because I've had it for a while. So yes, I love that bag, and it's just a little cube bag. It's hard to tell because I've got my sock ruler in there. So yes, that's all that I've been working on. And what was the things that I was going to tell you about? That's right, socks. I was so excited the other day. I was listening to the Just One More Row podcast, as I do, and you'll obviously, if you've been watching for a long time, and thank you if you have been, and welcome if you are new. I'm very sorry I forgot to do that at the beginning, but I really appreciate you being here, and if you like it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you really like it. Anyway, I was listening to the Just One More Row podcast, and I won! I was so excited! I was listening. I was listening to they were drawing the, you know, announcing the winner of the grand prize of the 12 in 16, which was all those socks that I did last year. And Dana said Anne of Julie, and I'm just, it took me a second. I'm like, hey, hang on, did she just say me? And then she said, oh, it's, you know, Julianne, and she's a dyer and a podcaster from Australia, and she's under MyMuddlings. And I was just like, it was me! And I was so excited. I'm sitting there, and I was home all on my own because Simon does sailing on Saturdays, so he was still down at the sailing club. And I'm sitting here all on my own going, oh, I won! And it's probably the biggest thing that I have ever won, and I was so excited. And I won a project bag that would be sewn by Dana, $20 worth of pattern downloads, and $60 gift voucher for Dana's shop, which is Unwind Yarn Company, and I was so excited. And I can use that for a custom order as well. So I was thinking that I might get her to dye me up a sweater quantity of one of her colorways, and I think I want Magnolia Blossom because it's just so beautiful. It's all my favorite colors. It's a really lovely mauve. I'll pop in a picture so that you can see. So I'm hoping I might ask her for 3 or 4 skeins of that, and I'll just pay the difference over the gift certificate. And yeah, I can have a sweater out of Unwind Yarn Company, and that would be so exciting. So yeah, I was thrilled, absolutely thrilled. And now I feel a bit bad for for being so disparaging about having to knit 2 pairs of ankle socks in a month. And yeah, I kind of want to take that all back because I have actually worn those ankle socks a few times. I kind of want to take all of that back, seeing I won and I've actually been using those ankle socks. So yeah, that was really, really exciting. That just made my day, probably made my year actually. I'm probably not going to have anything quite that exciting for the rest of the year. That's a bit pessimistic, isn't it? No, well, let's be a bit more optimistic and say that made my January, apart from the birth of my niece. So yeah, that was the sock thing. And what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? I can't even think now. Maybe probably my niece. She is still currently in hospital, just to give everybody an update in case you're interested. She is still in hospital, but she will be released on Wednesday. So we're really excited. That means she'll have been in hospital for 3 weeks. She'll be 3 weeks old on Wednesday. So yes, she'll be coming home. However, she does need to be on oxygen, so that's a little bit of a bother, a little bit upsetting really, because you kind of want to have a free moving baby rather than being hooked up to a tube. But the main thing is that she's home, because my sister, obviously she had a cesarean, and she is getting pretty exhausted, having to go back and forth because she lives a fair way away from the hospital. So it's probably a good, 40-minute drive for her to get to the hospital and home again each way. So she's getting pretty exhausted. She's not sleeping well. Very concerned that her baby isn't with her. So yeah, that'll be wonderful. And we're probably going up to her place on Thursday for Australia Day, just to have some lunch, I think. And yeah, so I'll be able to see my little niece at home. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, all of her tests that she's had, all sorts of tests. She's had lung scans and tests and brain scans and a sleep test and all these kind of things, and everything's kind of come out pretty much normal. It's just they're worried about her oxygen levels. So yeah, so she could be on oxygen for up to a year or more, which is a bit upsetting. But yeah, at least she's coming home and she doesn't have to be in the hospital anymore. So that's really good. So yeah, what else do I have to talk about? I've got a couple more things to talk about. I will talk about some spinning. I've done a little bit of spinning. I spoke last week about my Tiddly Bit spin, and I've finished my first bobbin. So that's what I've done so far. And Tiddly Bits are just little nests. I might pop a picture in so you can see. They're just little tiny nests of fibre. They're about 1 metre long, just very thin pencil roving in all these bright different colours. So by the time I've done my second bobbin and plied them all together, it's going to be a quite outrageous skein of yarn, I believe. So that's by Robin at Treadle Handspun Yarns. So yes, that's what I'm up to. I haven't been doing a ton of spinning, just a little bit here and there as I kind of feel like it. I'm going to be doing quite a bit of dyeing this week, so I'll probably have the wheel out to do, I tend to do some spinning in between, like waiting for dye to set and things like that. So hopefully I can get a bit more done on my second bobbin. I've just started my second bobbin. I think I've put 2 Tiddly Bits on it, so not a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been spinning. Now, the only other things I think that I wanted to talk about was about my Amelia Berry test knit, because I touched on it a little bit before, and I've, as I said, 2 of my testers have finished and their berets are amazing. And Katie, who is Knit and Stitch Bits, I believe, on Instagram and Ravelry, she did one also in a variegated yarn, which I was thrilled to see, because I said to her, she sent me a picture before she started knitting and saying, is this skein okay? And I said, sure, it'd be really good to see what it looks like in a variegated. And whereas mine's very heavily variegated, hers has got a base of a very, looks like a deep charcoal grey. I'll pop a picture in so that you can see it, with little blips of colour, and it's just so pretty. And my other tester, Emma, hi Emma, I know you definitely watch, she did one in a sort of a chartreuse coloured yarn, and that's really beautiful as well. So I'll pop in a picture of that as well. So I'm really excited to see the finished berets coming through. I know another one of my test knitters is starting today, so hopefully I'll have some more pictures to show you next week, or you know, as the days go on. Probably share them on Instagram as well. So yeah, it's really, really exciting. And as I said before, I am so appreciative of my test knitters, and you know, they've taught me a lot and they've helped me out a huge deal. So I'm really, really, really grateful to you guys. Thank you so much. So yeah, I think the only other thing I want to talk about is something that, now I'm not being endorsed for this at all. It's just something that I found to be hugely helpful for me. And I know a lot of people have been talking about planners on their podcasts, and so I wanted to talk about what I've been using. And I found this, I think, on Instagram. It was one of the sponsored posts on Instagram, and so I went over and I was given $100 at Christmas, which was $50 for my birthday and $50 for Christmas. And I didn't know what I wanted to buy with it, and I didn't want to buy more yarn, and I didn't want to buy fabric, and I was a bit, you know, what am I going to do with this money? So I thought, well, I'll just hold on to it. And then this Instagram post popped up, and the Instagram post is from Leonie Dawson. I don't know if you have seen it, but she does these amazing planners. And I went on there, and she had, I think she called it the Biz Pack, and it basically has a workbook for your business, for your personal life, a diary, a wall planner, and a to-do list. And I went, that's what I need to do, because I don't know what you guys are like, but I'm very much the kind of person who has these grand ideas, but I really lack follow through, and which is really bad, because my parents used to call me a fadder, because I would jump onto the latest fad and then I would get bored, and then it would just, you know, fall by the wayside. So it's surprising that knitting has stuck around as long as it has. Yeah, they used to call me a bit of a fadder, so I think it's a little bit flaky, a little bit of a flake in regards to interest. So I have all these big ideas and I want to do all of these things, and then I forget them or I don't follow through on them. It's probably why I have so many works in progress, because I just keep starting things, because I like that thrill of the, you know, the beginning of stuff. It's probably a miracle that my husband's hung around as long as he has. I haven't got bored of him yet either, so that's probably a good thing. Anyway, yeah, so I bought this pack, and I thought I would show you, and just so you can see, and they're all spiral bound. This is the diary, and it's all very, very bright. It's very, I don't want to say new agey, it's a little bit hippie, which really kind of isn't my style, but I really am at the point where I need that extra encouragement of, you know, giving me all the over-the-top kind of inspiration quotes and things to, you know, focus on so I can dream big. So, yeah, I think, did I say I bought the Biz Pack? Because obviously I have a business. So, there's all sorts of things where you've got in the planners, you can check in, because Leonie's very big on checking in and like writing down your goals and checking in to see how you're tracking in regards to those goals. And then it's just got the weeks in there. So that's the planner, and it's got an elastic thing here. So that's the planner, and I love this, but I don't think these are available anymore, because Leonie's actually doing a 50% off I think she's still doing it because she got she ordered too much. So right after I ordered mine, of course, she did a 50% off sale, but that's okay. But I don't think these are available anymore, and it's like a to-do list. So there's not quite enough space on there for me to write down what I need to do because I have very large handwriting. But yeah, I liked the to-do list, and there's a couple of different designs of that. So I've been using that and the diary just to do my, because I do bullet journaling, and I'll pop a link in the show notes about that as well, just so you guys can go and have a look if you're not familiar with that. But I do bullet journaling, so I've just been putting my bullets on in my diary, and then it also came with a big like a wall planner. So I've got a couple of these, so I'm going to have one for my business and one for personal. And then there's the two workbooks. So you've got the life one and you've got the biz one. And basically there's just, you can fill in all sorts of things about what your goals, what your dreams are, about different parts of your life. So I've written in the business one, you can see I've got quite big handwriting. I've been writing in the business one. I haven't quite got to the life one yet, but I need to schedule, I'm going to try and schedule an hour a day just so I can work on my workbooks. So yeah, I thought if you guys are interested in something like this, because I've found them really, because they really make you think, and they make you think about things that you perhaps wouldn't otherwise think about, because they prompt you with a lot of questions. Leonie prompts you with a lot of questions and things like that. So I thought if anybody else is a bit like me, a little bit, can be a little bit aimless, can be a little bit, you know, looking after the next shiny, chasing after the next shiny thing, you know, like the dog in Up, you know, ball, squirrel, you know, like, if you guys are like that, then maybe something like this could be helpful for you. And I think Leonie's still having the 50% off sale, so that's a really good bargain, because I bought this whole set for $65. Australian. So yes, I just thought I'd share a bit about how I'm planning and working through this year. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about, because I wanted to talk about the planners because I know Gabby from Once Upon a Corgi talks about her planners quite a bit, and I guess she would only do that because people are interested, so I thought I would share how I'm planning my year. So yeah, that's all I've got to talk about. I thank you very, very much for joining me. I know I'm a bit all over the place again because, yeah, hot, melting. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a fabulous week, and I can't wait to talk to you again next week. So take care. Bye.